ॐ भूर्भुवः स्वः तत्सवितुर्वरेण्यं भर्गो देवस्य धीमहि धियो यो नः प्रचोदयात् ॐ शान्ति शान्तिः Namaste my dear friends. In this video I am going to narrate the knowledge of Garbha Upanishad of Krishna Yajurveda. The body is composed of the 5 elements. It exists in the 5 objects of sense, etc. It has 6 spots. It is associated with the 6 gunas. It has 7 dhatus, essential ingredients, and 3 malas, impurities. It has 3 yonis, wombs, and is formed of 4 kinds of food. Why is the body said to be composed of 5? Because there are 5 elements in this body, viz. Prithvi, Apas, Agni, Vayu, and Akas. In this body of 5 elements, what is the Prithvi element? What Apas, what Agni, what Vayu, and what Akash. Prithvi is said to be that which is hard. Apas means water. Apas is said to be that which is liquid. Agni, fire. Agni is said to be that which is hot. Vayu, air. Vayu is that which moves. Akash is that which is full of holes or tubes. Of these, Prithvi is seen in sporting objects, Apas in cohesion, Tejas or Agni in making forms visible, Vayu in moving, Akash chiefly in Avakasha, with giving space. Then what are the 5 objects of sense, etc.? The ear exists in sound, the skin in touch, the eye in forms, the tongue in taste, and the nose in odor. Then the mouth exists in speech, the hand in lifting, the feet in walking, the anus in excreting, and the genitals in enjoying. Then through buddhi, one knows and determines. Through manas, he thinks and fancies. Through chitta, he recollects. Through ahankara, he feels the idea of I. Thus these perform their respective functions. Whence the 6 sports? There are 6 kinds of rasas, essences of taste: sweet, sour, salty, bitter, astringent, and pungent. The body depends upon them while they depend upon the body. There are 6 changes of state which the body exists: is born, grows, matures, decays, and dies. And there are also 6 chakras, wheels, depending on the dhamani, the nerves, which Mooladhara, Swadhisthana, Manipurka, Anahata, Vishuddhi, and Ajna. Also, the gunas are 6: Kama, passion, and others, and Sama, mental restraint, and others, their being properly association with the former and devotion to the latter. Then there are 7 kinds of sounds which Sadja, Sa, Rasbha, Ri, Gandhar, Gandhra, Ga, Madhyama, Ma, Panchama, Pa, Devata Da and Nisada Ni, which are stated to be seven agreeable and disagreeable ones, and there are seven kinds of dhatus having seven colors, which Shukla, white, Rakta, red, Krishna, dark blue or indigo, Dhumra, blue, Pita, yellow, Kapila, orange, red, and Pandara, yellowish white. In whomsoever these substances arise and increase, the rasa essence is the cause of the one following, and so on, as stated below. These rasas are six in number. From the rasas, probably chime arises blood, from blood flesh, from flesh fat, from fat bones, from bones marrow, and from marrow sukla, the male seminal fluid. From the union of sukla and sonita, the female vital energy, occurs garbha, conception in the womb. Being stationed in the heart, it is led. In the heart of persons, there is an internal agni. In the seat of agni, there is bile. In the seat of bile, there is vayu. In the seat of vayu is hridaya, heart or atma. Through having connection at the Ritu season fit for raising issues, the embryo formed in the womb is like water in the first night. In 7 nights, it is like a bubble. At the end of half a month, it becomes a ball. At the end of a month, it is hardened. In 2 months, the head is formed. In 3 months, the region about the feet, and in the fourth month, the region about the stomach and the loins and also ankle is formed. In the fifth month, the back or spinal bones. In the sixth, the face of the nose, eyes and ears. In the seventh, it becomes united with Jiva Atma. In the eighth month, it becomes full of all organs. In the ninth, it becomes fatty. Sukla belongs to man and Sonita to women. Each by itself is neutral or is powerless, but in their combination, a son is born when the father's seed preponderates. A daughter is born when the mother's seed preponderates. Should both be equal, a eunuch is born. Since females have more of passion on account of their deriving more pleasure than males from sexual union, a greater number of females are born. Action corresponds to the mental state of the actor. Hence, the child born takes after the thought of the parents. From parents with minds full of anxieties at the time of union are born the blind, the lame, the hunchback, the dwarf, and the limbless. From impregnation during the eclipses of the sun and the moon, children are born with defective limbs. Increase or decrease similarities or dissimilarities of bodies arise in the children through the influence of time, space, action, dravya, substance, and enjoyment. From a well conducted intercourse or union, the child being born with the form of the father possesses his qualities, just as the image in a glass reflects truly the original. When Sukla burst into two through the interaction or blowing against one another of the Vayu of both Sukla and Sonita, Then twins of the same sex are born in the same manner when the rethas, the seminal fluids which Shukla and Sonita of both the parents burst into two, then mixed progeny, male and female, is the result. Among mankind, five embryos only can be formed at a pregnancy in the womb. A womb with one embryo is common. There are some with two. Those with three are only to be found as rarely as one in 1,000. Where there is a frequent pouring of seminal fluid into the womb, a greater number of limbs is produced in the child. When the pouring within the womb is only once, then the child becomes dried up or contracted. By pouring within more than once, couples are sometimes born. Then, which in the ninth month, this in the body made of the five elements and able to sense, odor, taste, etc. through Tejas, spiritual fire, etc., which is also made up of the five elements. This cognizes the indestructible Omkara through its deep wisdom and contemplation. It cognizes as the one letter Om. Then there arise in the body the eight Prakritis and the 16 Vikaras changes through the food and drink of the mother transmitted through her nadis. The child obtains prana in the ninth month. It is full of all attributes. It then remembers its previous births, finds out what has been done and what has not been done, and discriminates between actions right and wrong. Then it thinks thus: many thousands of worms have been seen by me, many kinds of foods have been tasted by me, and many breasts have been suckled by me, and all parts of the world have been my place of birth, as also my burning ground in the past. In 84 lakhs of wombs have I been born. I have been often born and have often died. I have been subject to the cycle of rebirths very often. I have had birth and death again, birth and death, and again birth, and so on. There is much suffering whilst living in the womb. Delusion and sorrow attend every birth. In youth are sorrow, grief, dependence on others, ignorance, the non-performance of what is beneficial, laziness, and the performance of what is unfavorable. In adult age, the sources of sorrow are attachment to sensual objects and the groaning under the three kinds of pain. In old age, anxiety, disease, fear of death, desires, love of self, passion, anger, and non independence, all these produce very great suffering. This birth is the seed of sorrow, and being of the form of sorrow is unbearable. I have not attained the dharma of nivarti, which is the means of overcoming the cycle of rebirth, nor have I acquired the means of yoga and jnana. Alas, I am sunk in the ocean of sorrow and find no remedy for it. Phi on Agyana, Phi on Agyana, Phi on the troubles caused by passion and anger, Phi on the fetters of samsara, the mundane existence. I shall attain wisdom from a guru. If I get myself freed from the womb, then I shall practice Sankhya Yoga, which is the cause of the extinction of all evil and bestower of the fruit of emancipation. If I get myself freed from the womb, I shall seek refuge in Maheswara, the great Lord, who is the cause of the extinction of all evil and bestower of the fountain ends of life. If I get myself freed from the womb, then I shall seek refuge in that Lord of the world, who is the Chidatma of all Shaktis and the cause of all causes. If I get myself freed from the womb, then I shall seek refuge in that Supreme Lord Bharga, Shiva or Light, who is Pashupati, the Lord of Pashus or souls. Rudra Mahadeva, the great Deva and the Guru of the world. If I get myself freed from the bondage of the womb, I shall perform great penances. If I get myself freed from the passage of the womb, I shall worship Vishnu in my heart, who is the bestower of nectar, who is bliss, who is Narayana and who never decays. I am now confined in my mother's womb, and were I freed from its bonds, I shall please the divine Vasudeva without diverting my mind from him. I am burnt through actions, good and bad, committed by me alone before for the sake of others, while those who enjoyed the fruits thereof have disappeared through non-belief, unspirituality. I formerly gave up all fear of sin and committed sins. I now reap their fruits. I shall become a believer hereafter. Thus does the Jiva Atma within the mother's womb contemplate again and again the many kinds of miseries it had undergone, and remembering always the miseries of the cycle of rebirth, becomes disgusted with the material enjoyments of the world, often fainting in the innermost center heart of all creature at the idea of his avidya, desire and karma. Thus does the Jiva Atma within the mother's womb contemplate again and again the many kinds of miseries it had undergone, and remembering always the miseries of the cycle of rebirth, becomes disgusted with the material enjoyments of the world, often fainting in the inmost center with the heart of all creatures at the idea of his avidya, desire and karma. Then this being, who had entered many hundreds of female wombs of beings in the previous births, comes to the mouth of the womb wishing to obtain release. Here being pressed by the yantra neck of the uterus, it suffers much trouble. Moreover, it is much affected by Prasuti delivery Vayu. As soon as it is born, it comes in contact with the Vaishnavi Vayu and ceases to remember anything of the past. It also ceases to see far and to be the cognizer of the real. Coming into contact with the earth, it becomes fierce-eyed and debased. The evil of the eye, after it is rubbed with or cleansed by water, vanishes, and with it vanishes memory of birth and death, good and bad actions and their affinities. Then how does the Then how does he understand Vayu, bile and Selesma phlegm? When they are in their proper state, they produce health. With their disturbance, diseases are generated. It should be known that one becomes capable of knowing through a proper quantity of bile, through having a little more or a little less of it, he comes to know more. When the bile is changed, otherwise he becomes changed and acts like a madman. And that bile is Agni. Agni, influenced by karma, is kindled by Vayu, the source or seat of virtue and vice, as fuel is kindled within by fire, from without by the wind. And of how many kinds is that Agni? It has three bodies, three retas, seeds or progeny, three puras, cities, three dhatus, and three kinds of Agni, threefold. Of these three, Vaishnavara is bodiless, and that Agni becomes or is subdivided into Jnanagni, wisdom fire, Darshanagni, eye fire, and Koshagni, digestive fire. Of these, Jnanagni pertains to the mind, Darshanagni pertains to the senses, and Koshagni pertains to Dahara and daily cooks or a digest equally whatever is eaten, drunk, licked, or sucked through prana and apana. Darshana Agni is in the eye itself and is the cause of Vijnana and enables one to see all objects of form. It has three seats, the spiritual eye itself being the primary seat and the eyeballs being the accessory seats. Dakshinagni is in the heart. Grahapatya is the belly and in the face is Ahavanya. In this sacrifice with the three Agnis, the Purusha is himself the sacrificer. Buddhi becomes his wife, Santosha, contentment, becomes the Diksha vow taken. The mind and the organs of the senses become the sacrificial vessels. The karmendriyas, organs of action, are the sacrificial instruments in this sacrifice of the body. The several devas who become the Ritvijas, sacrificial priests, perform their parts following the master of the sacrifice with the true individuality. Wherever he goes in this sacrifice, the body is the sacrificial place. The skull of the head is the fire pit. The hairs are the kushagra. The mouth is the antravedi, raised platform in sacrifice. Kama or passion is the clarified butter. The period of life is the period of sacrifice. Nada, sound produced in Dahara heart, is the Samveda recited during the sacrifice. Vakhri is the Yajas or Yajurveda hymns. Para, Pashyanti and Madhyama are the Riks or Rigveda hymns. Cruel words are the Atharvaveda hymns and Khilas, supplementary text of each Veda. True words are the Vyaharitis. Life, strength, and bile are the Pashus, sacrificial creatures, and death is Avbharta, the bath which concludes the sacrifice. In this sacrifice, the three fires blaze up, and then, according to the desire of the worldly, the devas bless him. Life, strength, and bile are the Pasu's sacrificial creatures, and death is Avbharta, the bath, which concludes the sacrifice. In this sacrifice, the three fires blaze up, and then, according to the desires of the worldly, the Devas blessing. All who are living in this world are the sacrificers. There is none living who does not perform yagna sacrifice. This body is created for yagna and arises out of yagna and changes according to yajna. If this yajna is continued in a direction changed from the right course or is abused, then it leads to an ocean of misery. In this body there are 16 side teeth having each a membrane as its root and 15 openings. The body is measured by 96 digits. There are in it 14 nadis, seats and 108 joints. There are 72 tubes, seats with 72 nadis between them, of which there are important which Ida, Pingla and Susmana. The fourth is Puritati and Jivatma, the fifth. Above Jivatma is bile and near bile is Puritati. Above the navel, 2 digits to the left of it is seated the source of bile. The food taken in it divided into three parts: urine, fecus, and sara, the essence of or chyme. The urine dividing into two spreads to the left below the navel. The fecus is in the right side and is of 7 kinds. The sara is of 5 kinds and spreads itself over the body. Hence, the semen and blood are produced from food and drink. In this body, Vayu, which is moving as prana, is the Sutratma. Through it, one inspires and expires and moves his limbs. Without it, no limb of the body will be animated. Through Vayu, the current of blood is driven into the nadis from the chakra plexus of the heart, and those which can be touched on the body are easily discernible. The juicy essences of food which arise out of digestion enter the womb, which is suspended in the stomach of the mother, and coming near of the child's head nourishes the child's prana through the susumna on the head or pineal gland. Susumna is the Brahmanadi, prana and others are found there. Prana descends lower and lower as the time of birth approaches and settles in the heart when the child is born. Through yoga, it should be brought from the middle of the eyebrows to the end of Susmana, who is the pineal gland. When he becomes the cognizer of the real, like the child in the womb, in the body of this nature, Atma is latent and deathless and is the witness and Purusha. It lives in this body being enveloped by Maya, Prana or Jiva. Having Prana has Abhimana, identification with the body on account of Avidya. Ajnana which surrounds it is the seed. The Antakarna, internal organ, is the sprout and body is the tree. In this tree of body there are 8 crores of hairs, 80, 80 hundreds of joints, 9 hundreds of tendons, 8 plasms of hearts, 12 palms of tongue, 1 prastha or 2 palms of bile, 1 adaka of phlegm, 1 kudupa or 1 by 4 prastha of shukla and 2 prasthas of marrow. One should consider everything as evanescent, like the child in the womb with its prana, etc. stationed in the Sushmana of the head, then he becomes freed and gets no more body. If not, an ignorant man becomes subject to cycle of rebirth, etc., is exposed like a worm to the drink of urine and feces, and undergoes in this body the sufferings of hell. Therefore, knowing all this, one should be averse to worldly objects. Thus ends the Moksha Shastra of Piplada. Thus ends the Moksha Shastra of Piplada. Thus ends the Upanishad. Thank you for watching this wonderful video. Please like, comment and share the video. Subscribe the channel. Namaskar my dear friend. Thank you.